are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
You knew it was coming, right? Because we're doing Journey to Babel tonight. Hey, everybody, welcome to the landing party. I'm your host, Graham Nolan, and we are on episode 44. Here's your captain's log to get us going. We're doing Journey to Babel. It was written by DC Fontana and directed by Joseph Pevney. Journey to Babel is the episode that finally introduces us to Spock's parents, Sarek and Amanda, who had only been hinted at in the first season episode, This Side of Paradise, as his mother being a teacher and his father an ambassador. Incidentally, that episode was also written by DC Fontana. It was what gave her the idea for this one, along with the John D.F. Black episode, The Naked Time, in which Spock, under the influence of the virus, said he never told his mother he loved her. Fontana thought there was some interesting characters here, so let's explore them. What came out was an exploration of relationships and sacrifices between Sarek and his son, Amanda and her husband, Kirk and his ship, and the Orions and their cause. Throw in murder and political intrigue, and you have a classic Star Trek episode. Even though this is considered a bottle episode, with everything taking place on the ship, they knew it was going to cost a fortune for the extras, costuming, and makeup, so corners had to be cut somewhere. So instead of having the ambassador's party beam up, they decided to have them introduced in the shuttlecraft bay. Back then, the cost was $810 per person to either materialize them or dematerialize them. That is $7,692 in 2025 money per shot, per one person. So if you had the entire party beaming up, the ambassador's party, you're looking at an extra $40,000 probably. Mark Leonard, who played the Romulan commander in Balance of Terror, returns here for the role that would immortalize him in Star Trek fandom, Spock's father, Sarek. Jane Wyatt, best known to TV audiences, Robert Young's wife on the popular Father Knows Best series, plays Spock's mother, Amanda. She would return one more time to the role in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. Reggie Nalder, a great heavy in films, most notably in Hitchcock's The Man Who Knew Too Much, and as the terrifying Mr. Barlow in the TV miniseries Salem's Lot, plays the elder Andorian ambassador Shraz. Sulu is once again missing because George Takei stupidly took the role in John Wayne's Vietnam film The Green Berets. I get his thoughts in the day, the opportunity to work with a Hollywood legend, but the film turned out to be a bust that nobody but ardent John Wayne fans, like me, even remember. So that is our captain's log for today. Let's bring in the team. We have the surgically altered to look like an Andorian, Aaron Lopresti. His antennas are underneath the hat.
That's right. My hidden communication device right up here.
Ron, you still have your bread and circuses name up today.
I forgot to change it.
Moldy yeast and carnivals.
Which had to be explained to me, thankfully.
Some of us are sharper than others.
I know it. And speaking of sharp, here's the sharpest one on the deck.
Hello.
Anna, that Star Trek girl.
Oh, let me fix that. I forgot.
Did you lighten your hair, Anna?
I did. Thank you for noticing. I got my extensions removed and got my hairs did.
Nice.
To blend in all my white.
Very nice.
Is that the first time you've had it done since you've had the baby?
Yes.
Yeah.
did you do match it everywhere?
Oh my gosh. See, this
Ron,
is
there's no hair below my head. Fingers.
There's no
oh,
Except for
tribbles
my
anywhere.
toes.
No tribbles.
oh my
I meant
god.
armpits.
Except on my
Oh
big
my-
toe. I didn't get that.
Graham, you better hope that 5-year-old kid that read your comic is not watching this show.
I
Ron.
know. I hope the kid and his dad is not a Star Trek fan because
Oh my
that nice
God.
Mr. Nolan who wrote Monster
Well,
Island
I
does a
meant-
Star Trek show.
He had hairy arms.
I shaved them. So
Oh, there you go. See?
like right now there's a controversy with the girl that plays Snow White because they zoomed in, they see she's got back hair, and I'm like, that's nothing. I was born with
Anna's
more
like,
back
"Oh,
hair
Is that
than
what
that.
that picture's supposed to
They
be?
zoomed in and she has back hair.
My baby was born with more back hair than she has. So
Ugh.
Back hair. Looks like
and I'm proud of
what
it.
was that?
I shave it,
that-
but I'm proud of it.
What was that show with the Sleece Takas? The Slee Stacks, Land of the Lost, or
Oh
something?
yeah,
Land of
that
the Lost,
yeah.
That little ape boy thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What
Yes,
was that
thank
kid?
you. They have told me that I look like him.
Oh my.
Nobody told that.
Yes, they
I
do.
think wasn't it Clint Howard or something? No, was
No, it wasn't him.
But he looked kind of like him.
It sort of did that kind of messed up looking face.
Poor Clint Howard. Everybody's a target today.
Lynn Green says Anna loved the new hair.
Thank you.
There you
Not
go.
exactly what I wanted, but it'll get there next session.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
one of our fans, the Fiction Method, has created a spreadsheet of all the episodes we've done and our grading.
Okay. I
Oh,
want
yeah,
to see
yeah.
this. I want to see
Oh
this.
my goodness, I'm
All right,
excited.
hold on.
Say that again?
Let me share it.
That's like
Oh.
that's dedication, man. I appreciate you guys when you step up and do work that we're too lazy to do.
Which we
Wait.
probably should have done from the beginning, but
Right.
Right. But this is cool.
Spreadsheet that somebody made of us.
What's that?
Yeah, of what episodes and what are we graded the episodes, each one of us, which we graded the episodes at.
That's pretty impressive.
It
Yeah,
is.
I got to bring it into this.
If Graham
this-
can figure out how to use his computer.
Well, I use a different browser. So here we go.
Aaron, the most impatient man.
I am. That's tripping me out, man.
Oh, hey, no, that's no
oh,
good.
Wow,
click
that's
over it.
like,
It's right at the top. Just click over.
Yeah,
It was
That
right
so
there.
close.
that was like
Graham,
a
you're so-
Dempsey Escher piece of art.
Isn't this so typical? You got a bunch of old guys, and Anna's the young kid, and she knows how to do everything, and we're like, what?
nah, I got to remove it. Hold on.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well-
While Graham is wasting half the show, let me say this. This is a great episode, although I'm dying to hear what Ron has to say because you were hinting that you didn't think it was that good last week. So
I didn't. Well,
Here we
I
go.
don't think it wasn't.
Well, be careful what you say because this is my favorite episode.
yeah, don't crush Anna's soul.
Well,
Jim.
I'm not going to be careful what I say. You can say whatever you say, and it's perfectly valid. I'm just saying what I say because I just
Don't hate on it too much.
No, it's not. I don't hate it. It's not one of my favorites for probably.
Well, let's get into that. What don't you like about this episode?
Yeah, it's not for. I like some of the story elements, but I can't stand the aliens.
Or just like the makeup or something.
Yeah, it
come
always. Oh, come on, Aaron.
Come on, Ron.
Please let me get my sentences out.
I can't.
Like the one guy, the pig-nosed guy that Sarek does
The
that. to him.
Tellarite?
He is
Tellarite?
right through the bad mask, and
Well,
it's-
the eye things, yeah, that was kind of tough that they couldn't get it wrapped around his actual eyes. So you got
It was
that.
more cosmetic reasons I wasn't crazy about it. I mean, I thought I found it amusing, the whole thing with at the end with McCoy and saying he finally got the last word and all that. So I liked the story elements. I did like the father-son thing with Sarek and his mom. And so I didn't dislike it that much. It was just the alien aspect of the dinner party and everything else seemed so politically weightless to me. They should have explored more of the politics surrounding each of the. It just didn't. I mean, for the Spock story, I liked it. That was it. But I think it could have done it without, all those, the
I thought the level of how should we say, drama.
Yeah.
Problems in this were just great because you had, first of all, you had sort of like the murder, right? So something's going on. There's some intrigue there. You've got an alien ship, right? So, and then you've got Spock's father who's dying, and Spock has to help him, but then Kirk gets stabbed, and so Spock can't help his dad, and they're under attack. There was just so much layered on there in terms of and it was all, in my mind, it was all resolved really, really well. I didn't feel like I got shortchanged any place. I didn't care as much about the political aspects as Ron did there, but for the just the melodrama and just the layers of stuff that was going on and how well it was orchestrated by DC Fontana in the script, I really like this episode because I don't think there's a dull moment in the script.
There's one clunky scene in it, and it was written by afterwards by Roddenberry, and it's when Kirk has to continue the tour with Amanda, and she starts telling him about Spock's background as a kid, and DC Fontana hated that because she said somebody who's grown up on Vulcan and their very structured organization stuff would not be telling those innermost secrets to somebody that she just met.
Well, you're talking about when he talks about the
teddy bear?
The teddy bear thing.
No, that's at the party. This is when
in engineering.
In the engineering room. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought, and the guy that you brought up in your captain's log, the guy that played the Andorian, the creepy Andorian,
Jesse Nalder.
He sounds creepy. He looks creepy.
Yeah.
I like that guy. And
his mouth like this.
He's
Reggie Nalder,
not a living mummy or something.
Yeah. There was that really great line when he's talking to Spock, and he says, we're a violent race, but we have nothing against your captain. And then he tells Spock, he goes, throw logic out, look at reasons of passion and gain. Those are reasons for murder.
Yeah. And the way he says it is
right.
From murder.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the other guy, the other Andorian, well, the fake thing, he was the guy from the Clint Eastwood movies.
Yeah. The Any Which Way You Can.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
He was one of the stupid bikers in there.
What are you doing? And when he's on the bridge and he's faking him out. But Kirk made a bad mistake by turning his back to the guy.
Yeah, doing the butt kick. That was not good idea. With the guy with the knife.
He gets stabbed. Like goes to get up, and you never turn your back to your opponent.
Right.
Especially if he's got a weapon.
Like, what are you doing? I don't care how stunned you are. You should have the wherewithal to.
You know what else is clunky is when that Andorian is in the jail cell. And they go in to get him, and then all of a sudden he goes into action, and then they stun him, and his antenna comes off. His action is like it's like.
Yeah, he posed. He's got
he's
do anything.
He just jump pose and okay, are you gonna stun me or what? It's not very fluid.
How come his antenna didn't break off when he was fighting with Kirk? But those are minor things.
Because he hadn't taken the poison yet, so he was like disintegrating as he got closer to death.
Oh, I see. So the things was
I don't remember that in the script, but
it's my head canon that makes excuses for it.
Head canon, I like that.
So tell us, Anna, all your reasons for loving it.
Oh, it's 100% emotional. So I had a really difficult relationship with my mother growing up, and we only get along now because my sister died. So her favorite kid died. So now I'm the replacement in a way. But it was the first time I had seen a strained relationship like that before. Cause I only watched kid movies and Star Wars and stuff. So I was always oh, everyone gets along great. Or if they don't get along great, then it's always resolved. Whereas this was they haven't spoken in 4 years. I barely spoke to my mom at all when I was in college. So, it was just one of those things that I was okay, if Spock can, have a strained relationship with his father. And then the one scene where Amanda realizes she's oh, you still care about him when he gets mad at her for telling about the teddy bear. Mm-hmm. And so it always just kind of gave me that little hope that maybe my mom kind of cared about me, even though she had no interest in my life. So. And But I watched that when I was like 7, so it kind of was always something that like gave me hope throughout my life. And then, now we have a decent relationship, but I always enjoyed watching it.
That's being that frank and not, upfront about something so important to you I appreciate you telling us that, because that's a beautiful sort of,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
deep
it's truth.
reason.
It's emotional
I'm
truth.
very blunt to the point where it gets me in trouble, but
No, that's okay. But I'm talking about the emotional aspect of your mom and how much that affected you. And thank you for sharing it. I mean, it's a very personal thing. I'm familiar with it. Maybe that's one of the reasons why, I have a very complicated history myself. So that's probably one of the reasons the father-son relationship I found interesting. I won't get into all of my personal ones, but there's some of that in there. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, and it's nice. Yeah, and it's nice. We get with this and the Pon Far episode, we get a lot of background into Spock, and these and they're both DC Fontana episodes, right? So
not Amok Time. That was Theodore Sturgeon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This Side of Paradise, where they first mentioned his parents,
right?
Fontana. Yeah.
It would have been interesting in Amok Time if they had brought up Spock.
That's weird that his parents weren't there in that episode.
I was gonna say that, like
her parents and his parents weren't there.
If they had brought up the fact too that he had that Jane Wyatt was his mother and she lived on, was with T'Pau and all that, would have been an interesting angle.
Yeah.
To talk to Spock.
Maybe as an ambassador, they were off planet at that time, or
but to maybe even just touch upon it. But maybe they hadn't really worked that out.
But they hadn't written the characters yet.
Exactly.
That's the thing. They're retro writing it now. And
did they even know Sarek was his father yet?
No. All they had at that point was that he had a human mother, a Vulcan father. The mother was a teacher. The father was an ambassador. That's it.
Well, what's funny is in this episode, right when Sarek and Amanda are there and, Kirk's meeting them, and then he awkwardly says to Spock, like, do you want to go visit your parents? You're like, these are my parents. It's like, wouldn't you think Kirk would have put that together when it's like, oh, an ambassador and a human?
And knowing everything about your first officer anyway, he would have known that already.
Well, I'm just saying it's like, oh, not very many Vulcans are married to humans. And then you have a half and
yeah. Well, exactly right. But you're the captain of a ship. You would know everything about your first officer, who their parents are anyway. He would have known.
You would think. But that scene was all about McCoy trying to do the hand thing and saying that hurts worse than the uniform.
Yeah.
Today I rewatched it and it was my first time seeing the updated effects with the shuttle landing in the ship. I'd never seen that before. I was like,
right.
oh,
that's what I watched.
Again, not to just to backpedal for a second. It's another testament to Nimoy's acting. Like when Sarek, Mark Leonard is good, but nothing is like Nimoy. He's the way he acts when he comes out, and he's like, you feel the tension between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Nimoy is so freaking nuanced.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah,
watch.
It's because he stayed in character off. When you read about like people that were guests on the show and stuff, or people that come to the set when they were filming, they love Shatner. They said, "Oh, he was so much fun. He was a great guy and everything." And almost to the right down to the last person, they say that Nimoy was very aloof, very he stayed in character.
And he talked about that in his book, I Am Not Spock. He said, he said how it was affecting him. Like he couldn't get out of the character.
Yeah, his drinking was going on then, and
smile, and it was just putting him in bad moods, because our facial muscles are geared towards our mindset and our emotions. Like, if you close your left eye and look at the sky, you'll be in a good mood. I mean, if you raise your facial muscles into a smile, it puts you in a good mood. So if you're
that's because you're raising a glass of bourbon too.
What?
You left out that part.
What did you just say?
Isn't that part of the reason the show is so successful? Is because you had guys on there that were taking it seriously.
Yeah.
From the production, the creative people to the actors, they took it seriously, and it shows. And that's why it's still it's not lost in space. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I admire about it, because I always tell my son, I don't care if you're raking leaves, digging a ditch, or doing the worst job, or with a toothbrush scrubbing stuff. You do the best job you can, and no matter what the circumstances are, you always leave it with the best job you can do, and take pride in whatever it is. I don't care what it is. And I think like Nimoy kind of looked at the show a little bit as a little bit schlocky in the beginning with the man trap. He looked at it as like, oh, I don't want this to be like Lost in Space, this monster show. So I think they were very committed to using their real acting. Like DeForest Kelly's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Brilliant actors, and they really didn't matter what the context was. They were going to make it a good show as best they could for whatever material. And I think that helped the writing too.
Well, they hired guys that were really, really good. Writers, actors. I mean, you're talking about Shatner was, in Judgment with Nuremberg with Spencer Tracy. He was on Broadway. He was a very, very hot commodity. And here he is doing a TV show. McCoy had been in tons of westerns, always playing a heavy. Just a solid.
He was a bad guy in a few.
Yeah, usually, the heavy. So, but he's great. Everybody is really, really good in that show. One of the most overlooked things is if you watch this show and compare it to anything else that was filmed in the 60s, look at the lighting. Look at the lighting and the cinematography in it. It's shot like a movie. They have, Rembrandt lighting and mood lighting and all this other stuff. Whereas like most TV shows, dramas, sci-fi, whatever, have that like immersive light that just cuts out all shadows.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the first color TV shows too. That's why, so they paid a lot more attention to it. I mean, they, NBC, I remember reading something about that, about the color, when they brought the color in, they wanted to make it feel film-like, because they had Twilight Zone, and a lot of the shots that were in black and white were really lifted from Orson Welles' Citizen Kane. Mm-hmm. That was all the composition with the blacks and the shadows and stuff. And so when color came in, they paid much more attention to what you're talking about, the lighting and the aspect of it. Instead
Jerry Zinnemann, the cinematographer, he took this thing like even the outdoor stuff, like in Bread and Circuses, where they filmed in that cave that was on location. He said one of the hardest things when you're on location is get the lighting right. And he brought out all the tools and everything to get all this lighting, this like Rembrandt and shadows and mood stuff, and it really, really shows up. When you compare it to other shows.
Yeah, when you look at some of the still photos of the set when they're outside, it's interesting to see how much they had to use mirrors and foil and things like that to cast light everywhere.
Right.
On the outside it would be a little easier, but it's not.
Mm-hmm. No, because you get that direct sunlight and they cast really heavy shadows, especially during the day. So you got to have those.
They had to blast in the other direction.
You've got to kick it. Like in the Gorn, you can see it when he's trying to lift that rock over his head. Kirk is, and you can see the light kind of flickering against the rocks behind him. It's because they have a reflector underneath him filling that shadow,
which lends itself to the feeling of it being on a planetoid.
Yeah.
It's almost like nerds care about things that they're creating.
That's the title of this episode.
Nerds care about things.
It's almost as if nerds care about that.
But you know what? Like we're talking about 1965 through 1969, if you include the pilots. But look at 10 years later, say 1979, Buck Rogers. Look at the photography in that. It's shit. It's like it's TV crap,
Yeah.
Well, again, they didn't have the color. I mean, but
yeah, it was color.
Yeah,
they had color. They had color in the 50s. Superman was in color. The Lone Ranger was in color.
All the way through, it wasn't.
No, not all the way through, but it was still the 1950s when they were filming those color episodes.
But in the 60s, the three predominantly color shows was Lost in Space, Batman, and Star Trek. I can't recall, like Dragnet wasn't.
Gilligan's Island.
Dragnet was in color.
Black and white first two.
Yeah, and then it became color.
It was a big, that was the big transition. You're right.
Yeah. I Spy was in color.
But also, again, they were influenced by Forbidden Planet quite a bit, so maybe that was one of the reasons they.
I just think TV became. I mean, it always was about budget and turning it around quickly, and I think it just became easier as time went on to just light it with nothing cute, just throw the light on there, and everything looks flat and sterile and fake and or I should say artificial. Whereas as on Star Trek, it like you said, it looks cinematic. There was kicker lights. There was three-dimensionality to it and atmosphere. And different locations had different lighting. Whereas, like you said, Buck Rogers or Battlestar Galactica,
right?
It's just all flat lighting, and it just
some of it wasn't always a win. Like what was the episode with the little cubes of salt? They turned them into crust, and they were like these creatures, octopus.
Is that the one from this season?
By any,
that one's coming up.
By any other name, or
by any other name?
Andromeda Galaxy Aliens.
Right. Yeah, and then that set was kind of cheesy, and it looked very fake. So they had to cut corners where they had to, but overall, especially when they were on planets and stuff, it looked like a.
Well, by this point,
again, the Omega Glory and the other one with the first appearance of the Klingons and everything else, it looked like a film, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that same thing was with the Wild West. Had that same similar. Wild West was similar in that regard in some ways.
It was the Western Star Trek.
Yeah.
Western James Bond.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get back to my main thing about this episode was that I mean, you start off in Kirk's quarters, and they're like, griping about the uniforms, and then you cut right to Ambassador landing in the shuttle bay, and they start with that kind of militaristic music. It's almost tense, like, oh my gosh, it's something. What's going to happen, And then you meet Sarek, and then you've got all these wonderful scenes, personal scenes that Anna's talking about, and Ron was that between Sarek and his wife, and Spock and his mother, but then you've got this political intrigue, you got the murder, you got the vessel outside that's causing danger, then you've got the surgery. I mean, it doesn't let up for a second in this episode, and that's why I love it so much. Is it just I'm like, I am attached to that screen every second of this episode.
Yeah,
and the murder of the Tellarite, and then like, now is it Spock's dad? You're like, holy crap, what?
I mean, considering the budgets and everything, and how the budget was slashed again when it was slashed from the first season to the second season, but it was slashed again mid-season when Lucille Ball sold it to Paramount.
Right.
And so now you've got all of these extras that are here. I mean, and just even the honor guard that goes out there, what do you got? Like 5-10 guys? All have to wear, they're all on the paycheck. They're all getting paid. They're all got to wear their uniforms. They have to be, people in the hallways, ambassadors that are in the hallways. I mean, they reused a lot of stuff. You'll see like Lenore's outfit from Conscience of the King on one person. You'll see, you look close.
They had to hire 2 midgets and paint them gold. That's
right.
Not cheap.
Yeah. I mean, that takes time. The Tellarite, the actor said it took him 3 hours.
I think, I guess, in my own, where I'm coming from with that is I've always had a problem, even when I was young, with the idea of anthropomorphizing humanity onto space creatures. And when I know it's Star Trek, and it's just a show, obviously, but even then I had problem with politics and space with other planets and how we, our mindset is always that. So I think that's what bugged me about the politics end of it. Everything else, the stuff I liked, the Star Trek, the Spock relationship and everything else. It's just the politics of it and the makeup in some spots. But I mean, I can get past it, otherwise I like the episode.
Well, it is interesting, Ron, because they could have taken a political slant to the whole episode and it would have been a different episode,
That's why I like that aspect of it, is they didn't. But I didn't like that part of it. I never do. I mean, look, outer space isn't like going to another state. You're not traveling to another. When you go to a planet, it's not going to Massachusetts, or it's not going. And we tend to think like that. Everybody wants to think there's UFOs flying around out there and we're just going to go to another planet. It's just, and I think it's a lot more complicated than that. Or
Oh,
no,
yeah. I mean, I just read an article recently about alien life, and the guy goes scientifically why it wouldn't look anything like us, because
exactly.
of the randomness of the way we are formed on this planet. Even if you take a creator out of it, and if you say it's all just uh, time and evolution and all that other stuff. There's a reason we have bipeds and fingers and stuff and bone structure, and a creature on another planet would be in an entirely different environment, and even if it was like the exact same distance from their sun, nothing would be the same. They'd be so completely alien we can't even imagine it.
Well, look at all the creatures in the ocean.
Right.
Yeah, look at the creatures in the ocean. Yeah,
We always tend to, I mean, the grays, that they always have big eyes and 2 arms. We always humanize everything.
Mhm.
And I don't understand why people can't wrap their heads around the idea that no, that it's probably not going to be anything. If there, even if, let's say this is an anomaly, like life on this planet isn't just some occurrence that happened in a universe of things we can't comprehend, and it's just one thing in trillions of other things that we don't understand or don't know that are going on other planets or whatever. Why it wouldn't be just like us? Because the way we evolved, we wouldn't have even evolved had an asteroid not hit here. You know what I mean? Just this, and wiped out the dinosaurs and all these things. Everything had to work to get us to a place where we were the only ones out of billions of life forms on this planet that created technology. And the reason we did was because we had the least capability of any life form on this planet to survive physically. We didn't have the strength, we didn't have the speed, we didn't have the the stamina to ward off predators. So this evolved instead. So we started building up shells around ourselves. We lived in trees, and we started and till we built
creating weapons.
Yeah, weapons. And
Well, okay, now wait a minute. So hang on a second. So are you criticizing the show because it's not imaginative enough, or what as it relates to what we're talking about?
Basically, yeah, because I don't think politics with aliens with with the mask with the holes, and of course it's just a silly
Tellarites.
Yeah, Tellarites. And they're not going to be wearing uniform, suits, and at this gathering like it's in Washington or something. And I just don't. I never have believed that that's what it would be like in outer space. So you go to planets and they're all like human looking and just have pointed ears, and I just don't.
Well, they answered that. There's an episode. There's a 2-part episode in The Next Generation, and it's where they find, like this. It's a spoiler since you haven't seen it, but at the end they go on like kind of this treasure hunt, and then they find out that there's this alien that left this transmission that said the reason why you guys are all different but somewhat the same is because we were a race and we were the only ones in the galaxy, and so we planted our seeds in molecules and left them throughout the galaxy. So even though you guys all evolved differently, you all stemmed from us.
Okay. Well, that's
So that was answered later in The Next Generation.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, at least they addressed it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some of these comments kill me, man.
And then
Don't read the chat, Ron. Don't
pull
read
it
the
up.
chat. Don't do it.
So the Tellarites, they show them in like the forming of the Federation in Star Trek Enterprise. I think you'd like the makeup better, so I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah,
for you.
I remember that because they fixed the eye holes.
Well, let me ask you this, Ron. As a comic book artist,
Yeah.
I mean, when you have to draw an alien or something like that, and you're making up an alien for the first time, I mean, it's so hard to conceptualize. What you're saying is conceptualize something that we have no concept of. So everything's based on what we know. It has to be because you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like I'm making an alien that kind of looks like a bug, or
We do it with cartoons. I mean, we anthropomorphize rabbits and animals and all these things. We humanize them and everything else. And
that's a better color, right?
it's
Yeah,
hard.
that versus this.
That's a later version of it.
This is in Star Trek Enterprise, so it's like when they first meet them, and then it's like the forming of the Federation, which was humans, Vulcans, Tellarites, and Andorians.
Okay.
It's also the only one aside from the originals that really has Andorians, and all of the others don't show them. Next Gen only shows an Andorian one time, and it's when Data's daughter is picking her body, and one of them was an Andorian.
Hmm.
And they look weird.
Why didn't they use the Andorians more? I always liked them. I thought they were
Yeah.
cool.
They were a
Well, you would
major
really like
adversary in
Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Yeah, he's great in Enterprise. And
Yeah.
then there's like a
And their
subspecies.
antennas move too.
Mhm. And there's a subspecies of them that live in like the poles, and so they have like almost white skin. But you know, it's
Interesting.
I like how when they did this new Tellarite, they left like a either a bony structure, second structure around the eyes to kind of account for the fact that this guy's eyes were sunken
Yeah.
in the original, just to give it that little callback, but still make it look more real. I like that. I like that they thought like that.
Mm.
I loved Enterprise. That was my second favorite Star Trek show.
Yeah, I did like Scott Bakula in that. I did watch that. It's the only one I did. I mean, I would watch Next Gen when it was on and I had nothing else to do, but I did it loathingly. I mean, I hated it. But I did like the Scott Bakula one. I did actually watch that and kind of got into it for a while.
I only watched one or two of the episodes. I don't know what
The
I was
first season is, in my opinion, not the greatest, but it does get better as it goes.
I know that Howard Stern used to go on and on about that Vulcan chick on there.
Oh, to Paul.
And
Here, I'll pull her up.
Jolene Blalock, Jolie something.
Yeah, Blalock, yeah.
But as far as the aliens go, I've always thought.
Yeah, shocker. She's married to a billionaire.
Really?
It's that. Yeah, it's that hypergamy. Yeah, as far as the aliens, Aaron, for me, it's just like, everything is form follows function and environment, things like that. So it's, she's pretty.
She was a model, I think. Oh,
yeah,
do that purple with the belly.
Didn't like her haircut though. They
like
did a better haircut.
Here's her in the mirrored universe.
Look at that.
Yeah, I like her in the mirrored universe.
Yeah, that's a little saucier there. Now we're getting someplace.
Mid-section.
Well, the thing that they had to do since they didn't use their transporters is like they would have to go in the detox room and then rub oil on each other in their underwear.
That was so ridiculous. It was there for the obvious reason.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the worst was when Trip got pregnant. When Trip got pregnant.
Oh, that was funny.
That was the worst. That was so bad.
But see, they all made fun of it. It wasn't like they were praising it. Like even all the Klingons started laughing at him.
Who got pregnant?
That dude. He got pregnant because he was on this alien planet and he did this thing where they stuck his fingers in these like lighted balls and stuff. And
oh, God.
Yeah.
God.
I'm getting ill now.
Yeah, I hated that.
It was funny.
Right there. It's like a precursor to.
Yeah, but it's funny because they were making fun of all that stuff, and now like it would be praised today.
Yeah.
Well, this young dude that's like on the other side of Bakula there.
That's him. That's the one.
Wasn't there a scene where him and the Vulcan chick were oiling each other up, and he got a little aroused, and it was on camera, and I was like they had a close up of her like doing his midsection, and it was like, dude, come on, seriously, now we don't need to see this.
Was that when she went in Ponfar?
I don't know, but I know that he was aroused by the whole thing, and it was like
Ponfar in an episode.
Yeah, well, they're stuck out in space, obviously, but so she has to go through Ponfar, and then they do end up dating, kind of in secret.
So who was the lucky bastard who got
him? The one that got pregnant.
That guy? He got pregnant.
Well, she's the chief engineer.
Trip.
He's a good character.
He's a good character.
I forgot why, but she has to give him like some kind of Vulcan massage therapy for some reason because he gets injured.
So to speak.
That's what they're calling it.
It's a whole subplot that starts in season 3, but anyway.
Yeah. I
but
think
it's a
I
good
must have only watched the first season because I don't remember a lot of this, and I'm thankful.
Well, it gets really good. Like, especially when they go into like the Badlands with the Zindi and then they come back and like a bunch of people on Earth are xenophobic and it's cool. It's interesting.
Hmm.
Mm.
Interesting.
PYG.
It's,
Is
Gollum.
this Russell?
I don't know. There's no mustache. I'm assuming it's Russell based on that name.
Gollum's half bust, circumcision leftover.
Is he-
PYG
is he
25,000. What denomination is PYG?
pretty
I don't
young thing, PYG.
Pygmy.
Life
Yeah.
is infinitely diverse, intelligent life, or civilization is about using tool to modify the environment. Use
Is it
speed,
really too hard
inspection.
to just write the word you as YOU? Does it really take that much?
I think you're only limited a certain amount of characters depending on how much you pay.
Yeah, I don't know what 20. I hope that's PYG reflects USD, because that'd be nice. $25,000 super chat.
Yeah. That'd be you. We're not streaming anymore. I'm retiring.
What would you really do if that?
PYG is
You would have to go on a date with the person.
For 25 grand.
Paraguay.
Paraguay. Yeah.
Paraguay?
Lynn Green's on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So how much is 25? Is that like $3 or something in Paraguay?
Okay, so 0.000 13 to US dollars. So let's see. 25,000 you said?
Yeah.
How do they come up with these freaking?
Well, the guy must live in Paraguay.
They're saying $3.14 US
How do they
dollars.
make it so complicated? 25,000.
Etrigan again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand foreign currency when they have numbers that high. It's like,
It's like, what's the point of having it that high?
yeah, it's like, well, this Hulk figure that Anna has behind her, if you buy that in Paraguay, it costs 100,000 PYGs. Or I'm sorry, the thing. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mess that
It's
up.
$31.35 is what you got.
Wow.
Oh, that's good.
$31.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
$1.
That's a
Nice.
couple good cigars,
and-
my friend.
Oh no, Lynn says it's 35. Wait, is it 25,000 or 250,000?
It was 25,000.
25,000.
Oh, then yeah, it's $3.14.
Wait, Graham,
Oh, it's not a good cigar then. It's a really shitty cigar.
just how much money are you making off this show, Graham?
$3.15, Ron.
Yeah.
I thought I was making $31, but evidently I'm not.
Oh, well, what are you going to do?
You just got to pile up the stacks of cash
Yeah.
behind you on your.
Well, have any of you guys ever done La Mole Con in Mexico City?
No.
I've been invited, but I wouldn't go because I actually talked to some guys who are from Mexico and they're like, dude, don't go. They'll steal your stuff. And so
Oh, it's great. I've been to the show.
They'll
It's
steal your stuff.
fantastic.
I've never been to Mexico.
Michael Golden told me he got his portfolio stolen there. So
Oh, Michael Golden's.
yeah, I know. No one's going to steal my portfolio.
Yeah. I don't bring original art, so I got nothing to steal. So I do
Yeah,
the
do you even
sketches
bring
there.
anything?
What's that?
Is
I was
Billy still on?
What do you bring to cons? I don't remember you bringing anything at Mega
I
Con.
bring books, the books that I
Oh.
publish, posters, and then I do sketches,
Commission,
commission
yeah.
sketches at the show, that type of thing.
And
Like when we're
25,000
at Garden
PYG.
State in June, I'd be driving to that, so I'll have my truck and I'll have it full of books and stuff like that for it.
Yeah. Are we sitting next to? We'll probably be next to each other.
Yeah, we'll tell Dave to put us near each other.
Yeah, we should make a whole booth that you maybe on. and
Oh,
Billy.
you guys doing a con?
I'm going out to con. Yeah.
Which one?
The
Garden
Garden
State.
State with him.
Oh,
New
fun.
Jersey.
Yeah, Billy's gonna be there. Aaron's
Oh,
not gonna be there.
Oh, is this
I
the
gotta
one
go
that
all the way
where
across country.
Cecil
You
met
guys-
Juju?
What's that?
Anna,
Was this the con where Cecil met Juju?
Yes. Yes.
Who is
Hey,
Cecil?
Anna and I are at a disadvantage. We're on the West Coast. All these major cons, except for San Diego, happen on the East Coast.
Mhm.
I'm not traveling cross country to do a show.
John drinks Woodford. That's good stuff, John. Thanks for the $1.99. Graham and Aaron enjoyed Professionals yesterday. Thank you. Excellent.
Thank you.
Sure. I have some of that downstairs.
I like Woodford a lot. Tooch!
There he is, filled with books and beer.
Look at that hair.
Tooch, let's get a huge booth, like, and just fill it with shit.
When is this
Yeah,
coming?
and then we can
You know
sell.
what we should do? You know what we should do? We should have the booth, and we should have like a grill there, make steaks and stuff right there.
Mm.
In the con?
And a
Yeah.
keg. We'll have a keg.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, when is this
We'll have
con?
our whiskey.
Yeah,
And
It's,
Anna's
end
like,
of
what?
June.
I'm going.
I
End of
wonder if
June?
they'll let us
Yeah.
do
Are
something.
you going in? You're not
No,
going.
no, no. But I have something I need to send to you before you go. So
Oh, okay.
I have time.
What is it? Is it personal?
No, it's a present.
For me?
Where's my
Yeah.
present? Damn it, I want a present.
Hey, Paul Taylor for
Well, we can
$10
share with you.
Canadian. You guys need to branch out into other Star Trek series once you get TOS finished. This brief foray into other series was interesting. Homework for Aaron.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, if we were to do
Listen.
that, then I'd have to watch all that shit.
I know. I'm
right.
just like,
You're
It's
supposed to be
one
watching this stuff.
episode a week.
I've seen them so many times. I was like,
It's a one episode. Well, we could do Enterprise. That one is
Yeah.
pretty close to this.
how many seasons was that?
4.
Oh, I could deal with that, I guess.
And you just have to watch one episode a week.
Yeah.
well, we still have another season of Star Trek to get through, and the animated and the movies. So it's a ways.
Yeah,
yet.
I don't know if we're going to do the animated series. I don't know.
You said we were
Apparently
going
that's
to.
the
Should we?
We should.
You said
I
we were going
want to
to.
go back and
All
watch
right.
them
Well, if you guys want to, that's fine. I'll do it.
To do what?
if I can get them. Where do you?
It's
I
on
don't-
Amazon Prime.
What are you talking about? I'm lost.
Are they on Amazon Prime?
I'm pretty
Nobody's
sure.
answering me.
Okay. The
We're
animated
talking about the
series, Mark.
animated series.
No, the animated series on Paramount.
Okay.
Is it on Paramount? I don't have Paramount anymore.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I don't
I'm
know.
gonna
That
buy
was
them.
always killed me how they reversed the music. Da-da-da-da.
Oh,
Everything was backwards on that soundtrack, and
the cartoon, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
they tried to make it sound like the original, but it was different. Like they reversed it or something.
Yeah. Anthony Mark wants us to do the animated series.
I remember they had an episode with the Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan. It was like a Kukulkan floating dragon thing, and
Oh, like one of those Mexican
yeah,
Aztec type things. Yeah.
planet, and Kukulkan was the god on the planet.
I remember that one. Why did I just recently see that for some reason? That sounds very familiar to me.
I mean, I haven't watched it since the 70s, but that's the one that sticks out in my head.
Hmm.
Also, with Spock he was on the planet with this bear, the bear creature,
Yeah, the Sell It.
to sell it. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. That's the one. DC Fontana wrote that episode
yeah, I remember
of the
that.
animated series. Yeah.
And he was crying in it or something.
Because the other kids made fun of him because he was a half breed.
Yeah. Half breed.
Poor
That's
Whittle.
all I ever heard.
Did you
Half
guys
breed.
see that reel? It's a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and the title was like "You'd Never See This," and it's like Bugs Bunny in a fort, right? And there's these Indians, and the Indians are like this, shooting all their
Oh,
arrows.
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And Bugs Bunny is going, he goes, boom, boom, boom. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. Boom, boom. 4 little, 5 little. Oops, that one was a half breed.
Those were
Back when cartoons were good.
Oh my
Ah,
god.
the good old days. Oh,
There was nothing off limits. It was so freaking great.
yeah.
Love those guys.
half breed. Half breed.
Half breed. How I
You
love
gotta
the
throw your
breed.
hair back and put your tongue up like Cher when you do that.
Half breed.
Anna could do it because she's got the long hair. You know,
He
she,
does.
Dad was always like this tall.
I don't know. What did Cher do?
she would do like a side toss, you know.
Yeah, she was. She always had
Breed.
fake boobs put in, and it was like
Wait a minute. Hang on. There you half breed.
half breed. Then she did gypsies, tramps, and thieves.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Gypsies, tramps, and thieves.
Ron's gonna do a whole
Town
routine
they
of Cher
call them.
songs for us.
I absolutely will. I used to work with. Well, I worked on I Am Legend. The costume designer, worked with her on the Sonny and Cher show. So he was talking.
Oh, not what's that guy's name?
Well, the guy I worked with, see, now you made me forget it. Shit.
You worked on the movie I Am Legend?
Yeah, I helped design the creatures and do all the costume.
Oh, cool.
Illustrations of the creatures in the costumes. So after they went zombie, they were still in their outfits because it happened so fast. Or like zombies in suits and
Right.
jogging shorts and things like that. So I had to illustrate all that. So I did I was only supposed to do a few, and I ended up doing over 47 to 50 illustrations.
Was that
Wow.
good paying? Was
Yeah.
that a good paying? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a per day thing, and I was there. I don't know how I freaking pulled that off because I was working on Spider-Man at the time. So I would go into New York 3-4 times a week, work on the movie, and I was coming home and doing my Spider-Man schedule. And I never missed a deadline.
Wow.
I was working my ass off, and I made a lot of money at that point.
You must draw really quickly.
I can if I have to. I mean, I learned though that I needed to get better. I couldn't just hack it out because what I realized is that while the editors loved you for a day, they're still going to give the hotter guy, the work.
Yeah.
So I had to find a way to do well. It was good because I learned how to be fast, but then I turned that around. I learned how to be good. So because I was used to, I developed my own way of being able to stay on track. And it really was just about jumping ahead on things and not dwelling on them. Like if I get caught on a page and I used to torture myself to the end of the day and I wouldn't get anything done because I couldn't figure out why this wasn't fitting properly and all this shit. And then I realized to put it aside and go back to it. And that's when things, I was able to get better and keep it on schedule.
Right. You keep that momentum going because you get analysis paralysis where you just are thinking too much about it and it just freezes you up. You just put something down, even if it's just, two guys standing there and you don't have any cool camera angles or anything, just put it down, move on, come back, and then.
Yeah. And a lot of time, well, not literally 99, 100% of the time, I'll go back and it'll jump out at me what was wrong with it.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Because it's like if you look at something and you can instantly assess it, but if you're too close to it, you can't. And sometimes you're focusing on one thing and you didn't realize that the problem was up here in the panel. That's what was throwing you off, but it was a peripheral thing. So all those things work into it, and then but when you come back to it, it jumps out at you. Okay, that's why it was bothering me. But then you can focus on being better, and I definitely think doing story arcs helped where they had a little more fill-ins, because I could take more time and not stress out about doing a monthly. But I mean, the first bunch of my career, half of my career I was on every month, jumping from book to book and things like that. It wasn't easy. But, I was committed to having a career. So it's all, you have to have commitment.
Yep. And you got to pay bills. So,
yeah. That's a good motivator.
I started inking myself too. That made all the difference in the world.
Oh yeah, you could pencil looser.
Yeah, because I was penciling to protect myself from inkers.
Right.
I was going so tight on things, and then I was losing something in that because it wasn't my nature. But I worked with great guys like Sal Buscema, and I loved it. However, at the end of the day, you see a lot of Sal imprinted over me, So I started drawing like Sal more and stuff, and it wasn't fair to me.
Yeah.
As
I got inked by Sal. That was kind of cool.
It's great. His lines are beautiful.
Yeah.
However, you have to be true to yourself. I mean, Gary Larson wouldn't be Gary Larson, and Charles Schultz wouldn't be Charles Schultz if he had other people inking them.
Right. Joe Kubert. When other
Kubert.
people ink Joe Kubert, it's like, yeah.
Nice.
Because all the energy's in the inks.
Yeah. So
all right, let's get some grades here. Aaron, you're up.
I really like this episode. In fact, I'm tempted to give it a 10, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go I mean, Ron's got a valid point. Two things that are valid. The political stuff is very light. And then the, turning his back on the Andorian and getting stabbed, even though I love the bouncing off the wall and hitting him with his butt. Do I do it? I'm gonna go 9. Give it a 9.
You've only given 110 this season.
Yeah, the Doomsday Machine.
Yes.
But it's like, how many 10s can there possibly be? Right?
Nothing in the universe is a 10 except God.
Somebody really made an Excel spreadsheet of that.
I love this, man.
I know.
I
With
can't
links
see.
to episodes
Where
too.
does it say? Oh, it has their names on top. Okay, I see them.
And here's our average too,
I gave Arena a 9.2. How is it? We can't even do that. That's cheating, isn't it?
I have my glasses. Where's my glasses?
I know, I can barely see.
Yeah, well, I can blow it up. What do you want to look at?
Well, just everything. I can't see it. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay, so the cage was, we're pretty in agreement there. Anna hates where
That actually is very interesting to see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
To see all the disparities, and you can see where we missed some episodes. Like,
Oh, Ron, you never gave a score for Quarter Light Maneuver.
I wasn't on that episode.
I know, but you've
I
seen it.
should.
Let's give you
That one. I would have loved. I love that episode.
So I gave it a 10.
I would give that a 9.5.
I gave it an 8.
Yeah,
I kinda wanna go lower.
I might give that one a 10. I love that episode.
Yeah, me
That
too.
was a good episode.
That's the first episode of Star Trek.
I just love the whole thing about it, how he bluffed them the whole time. It was all a bluff. He used the fake alien head to scare them, and it looked like a puppet. But that was the other thing the Federation Trading Post had, was they had that too. That store, they had that mock-up of that alien in a thing. Like, it was so cool. That
Blalock.
Yeah. Well, no, the puppet, the alien.
Yeah.
Blalock.
He called himself Blalock. It was the alter ego of Clint Howard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so weird seeing episodes that I rated higher than you guys.
Well, what's bothering me is how many episodes I missed. Really? Did I miss all that?
Ron.
You just like disappear, man.
Hey, you talked about commitment to your career. How about commitment to the show?
Yeah,
Stop having a life.
Well, if you
outside of
pass
this.
along that $3.14, maybe.
I'll spread it around.
Boy, we love the alternative factor, didn't we?
Man,
Oh, yeah.
Surely there were only 2 people.
I give a lot of 6s.
The alternative factor, 2 point. That's got to be Anna. 2.25.
What does that mean?
Look at me on Cat Spa. Look at me on Cat Spa. I'm just like, you guys are like all hated it, and I'm like, 7. If you guys hadn't talked me down, I probably would have given it an 8.
I gave it a 4.
Look at Metamorphosis. You're a 5 on that.
I wish I should have given that a 3.
Oh,
I gave it 7.5.
I hate that.
I gave it an 8. I love that.
Who Mars for Adonis? I would have given a higher score for. I like that episode.
Yeah, I'd give
Because I love Greek
that.
mythology, and I'm a big fan of that. And I thought it was a tragic story, beautifully told tragic story of
Whoever is doing this, if you're watching, I give that episode an 8.
You know
I
what?
like that episode a
Maybe
lot.
we can go through this, and I can add. If it's possible, I can add my scores on these. Like, if we can get a screenshot of it, I'll go in and I'll write it.
Well, you know what we'll do at the end of the season? We'll pull this up, and if there's any blanks, we'll give the scores for it then, and then maybe Fiction Method can give us our final readout.
Fiction Method is in the chat right now.
I can't believe I missed so many of them.
Yeah, I was always like, "Where's Ron again?" Yeah.
I'm sure you were.
You have a life.
Can you do that, Fiction Method? Like when we do our last episode, we'll go through this thing, and if there's any blank spaces, we'll give the grades, and then you can fill them in.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love
that'd be great.
Yeah, but I'm like rethinking some of my grades right now as I'm looking at
And
them.
if you do that, I will spread some of that $3.15 your way too. So.
You guys didn't like the caveman episode, Galileo 7. I love that episode.
I hate that.
I gave it.
I know you guys do.
I think I gave it a high 6.5. That wasn't too bad. Man, the court martial, I would have given that an 8.
Commercial's a good one.
Yeah, I like the court martial. It's a good one.
Surely, if I would have given that an 8 just for the chick who was into McCoy, she was so hot.
Oh yeah, yeah. Elizabeth Banks.
No, I love her. Oh, she's
I
like
missed shore leave
for
too.
me. It was like the perfect woman.
Yeah, that one was just me and Graham.
Yeah.
Ruth, how can it possibly be you?
Like if I were a
How
wife,
could you be possibly this old, Ruth?
I'd give shore leave a 7.5. I'm right there with you on that one, Graham.
yeah, I would have given it that.
I like that one episode. We all gave like 2.
What is the lowest score? So far, it's a 2.
It was alternative. Yeah, no one's given anything a 1 yet, but they're coming third season. I'm going to
Yeah,
be
that's
throwing
true.
ones out like crazy.
Alternative factor.
Oh, look, the
wow,
city
look at-
on the edge
look
of
at Anna.
forever.
Oh, look at Anna on City
Anna
on-
is sitting on the edge of forever. The same thing as the alternative factor.
Yeah, how is that
Wow.
possible?
I'd probably
Unbelievable.
rather watch the
Oh,
alternative.
Whoa!
That episode.
One, there it
That
is.
proves that
There
women
it
are
is.
emotional and unstable.
Wow.
No, it's not. Well, hey, he left out who was your friend that was on that episode? The one that looked like Bilbo.
Mark Miller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, him.
That's
Look
right.
at the
Wow.
Doomsday
Your
Machine.
friend
10.
who looks like Bilbo. Does he
He
know?
looks like Bilbo. Peaches
Did you
was
tell-
watching and he's
Did
like,
you tell him that?
Bilbo's on.
Wait a
No,
minute.
of
What
course not.
episode did Mark want to come back for, Graham?
He hasn't gotten back to me. I offered him.
I
a
don't
spot
think
in
he
the second
wants to
season.
because honestly, we started talking politics. I think that's why.
Did we?
Did we?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I kind of got a sense that he was, because he said on the show, I can't, I don't want to.
Well, he
something-
left us that
Yeah,
nice
because he wanted to
message
come
saying
back
he
for
wanted
bread
to
and
come back.
circuses, didn't he? Or did he want to come back for the Nazi one?
I messaged
Yeah,
him.
I think he wanted to come back. I don't know.
Okay, well, we haven't done Patterns of Force yet.
I think that was the one he wanted to come
he
back.
said he wanted to come back, and I
Hey,
messaged
first,
him.
you got to get in touch with that dude who played Gay Kirk from the remake Star Trek Anew or Star Trek Remade or from the
The
YouTube.
YouTube show?
Yeah, the guy who played Kirk.
Yeah, Vic, what's
Vic.
his name?
Vic
Vic
Mignogna.
Why did
Yeah,
you
he
say
came
gay
back.
Kirk?
Because he came across as a bit more of an effeminate version of when
Oh,
he was
I've
trying-
never really seen it.
just the way he crossed his legs and his hands and it just
Well,
he
I'll
was
have to
doing
watch
Shatner, but it lacked, it was something a little bit more feminine about it. Metamorphosis, is that as far down as it goes?
No, we're going to second
No,
season,
no.
but
Well, keep
Uh,
going. See the other ones. Okay, there we are.
Mhm.
All right, so let's see.
he put Anna in for a 10 already, and we haven't even
Well, he's not wrong.
Oh, that's funny.
Spoiler alert.
I just love Doomsday Machine. 10, 10, 10, 5. I can't stand Doomsday Machine. The greatest episode ever.
I like Doomsday Machine. I just hate what's his face.
Well, that's a big part of it, though. That's true.
I know, which is it kind of ruins it for me.
I think
That's
Mirror
the
Mirrors.
funny part because one of the reasons we gave it a 10 was because of his performance.
Yeah, but it's like how we can get back into this, but I'm just like someone like that wouldn't have made it to the rank that he was in Starfleet. Look at just in the last episode that we watched with the one guy, he was off by 1 point on his stress test, which is why he didn't get to become a Starfleet captain. If you don't pass these things, you can't be given command of that many people.
Here's the problem with your logic. Is that
There's
you
no
don't,
problem with my logic. Kirk
there
didn't make
is
that
problem
mistake.
with your logic because you have no idea from the point he entered Starfleet to that moment where he lost it as far as the Doomsday. You have no idea what history happened in his life
I don't
in
care.
space and all these things.
I don't care. Kirk wouldn't have made
could
that
have
mistake.
that could have led him to that moment.
Kirk didn't make that mistake, which is why
But
he's a
but he
captain.
didn't live the exact same experiences as this other captain.
And the
There's
guy's collapsed from PTSD. I mean,
Well, he should get
imagine
his shit together.
some generals in World War II, who have seen stuff and been through stuff, lose their shit and need an R&R, and he hasn't gotten an R&R.
You have to take into account the things they experience, and not everything is the same. and they're not, and every human is different.
I am. And you know what? Thinking back on it, immediately he should have been put on leave by McCoy. He should not given command of any ship, nothing. No one
Well,
should have listened.
he didn't have time to
Everyone just
examine.
died.
One
Now
thing
you know I
here's
haven't.
what's,
had time.
this is teaching me is that I'm glad Anna is not a captain and not in a position of power and stuff.
Because I'm ruthless.
No, because you make no sense.
I make no sense. I make perfect sense.
Paul Taylor says your logic is flawed, Anna. You'll
How?
never be a Vulcan.
I don't want to be a Vulcan.
All right,
I don't-
I'll give you my grade. My grade.
I
I'm
win that one, Trevor.
I'm going 9.5 on this. I'm going to do it. I just think it's better than a 9. Looking at some of the other 9s I gave, this is like one of the top 5 episodes in my opinion. So I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Okay, Ron.
Well, I will say that you guys made some good points.
Oh.
But that doesn't really sway me too much. I was touched. Yes, I was touched, moved by Anna's frankness about her personal relationship with her mom. So I can certainly wrap my head around that because I felt some of that a little bit in the father-son relationship with Spock and Sarek. If I were to integrate that into it, which I don't normally do, is pull personal emotions in it. I try to gauge it on that, on just the show itself. I'll give it a 7.
That's reasonable.
All right.
That's so
Wow.
low.
Okay.
The politics.
9.5, Anna. 9.
No, mine is a 10. This is
Oh,
my
it's a 10.
favorite.
Oh,
No.
This is my favorite episode, and I like how even in the Next Generation they don't call back to this episode, but like Sarek dies in the Next Generation because he's got this degenerative thing which they pull from this episode, and how he's kind of losing it. And Picard had to do a mind meld with him in the first time he sees him. So then when Picard meets Spock and he has to tell him that his dad died, Spock's like, I've never mind melded with my dad. And so Picard lets him mind meld with him so he can see what he got from his dad. So even that, they never fix their relationship, even in the movies, even in the Next Generation. So it was always strained. But there was that care there that they showed in their own way that,
Yeah.
It's interesting how the later series, after the original series, how culturally you see that the stories shift from military space conflicts and post World War II stuff to emotionalism and relationships and and things like that. And
the relationship between Spock, McCoy, and Kirk makes Star Trek.
yeah, but it's not touched upon so directly as much. I mean, like when you start talking, well, I guess the father-son relationship with Spock does.
Well, because Sarek even shows
But
up
on
in
as a general theme series, it's more militaristic and adventure.
Well, you wouldn't care about their military exploits if you didn't care about them as humans or halfway.
I'm not saying you don't care about them as humans. I'm just saying they're not. The stories aren't explicitly, focused on human emotions and relationships, and cultural issues of the day. Like nowadays, like in these shows. That's why Star Wars gets so lambasted, is because of all the woke stuff in it, which is current culture stuff. It's not stuff that's going on the planet. It's current stuff here in America or in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's like it's not focused on that. It wasn't focused on that quite so much.
What you're trying to say is you've rethought it and now you're going to give it an 8.5. I think that's what I'm hearing. I think that's what I'm hearing.
Well, I do like the Spock father episode. So.
Yeah. I'm giving this a 9.
Well, see, unlike you, Ron, I actually like the politics that they have in it, because I hate real world politics, but I like how the only time we've ever seen Orions.
Wait. Are you yelling at me?
Yes, I am. I'm yelling at you. I'm lecturing you. No. Well, no, because it's
you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's my.
No, I'm just saying, I like that aspect of we finally get to see some of the schemes that the Orions do, because all we've seen so far is the hot Orion slave girl. Because they do that.
Oh, you know what? I never even made that connection.
I didn't either until right now.
Yeah.
No,
So
what
the
an idiot.
Orions in this episode would be the green people, like the Orion's slave.
But they were the Andorians.
They were surgically altered to look like an Andorian.
Yes.
Planted
Yeah.
on
But
this
what do
ship.
Orions look like?
Orions are the green guys.
Yeah, the Orion
Yeah.
slave girl.
Yeah.
So they'd be
Why?
green.
Okay, but Orion slave girl sounds like she's a slave. She was taken from somewhere else by the Orions. So she's a green people from somewhere else.
Oh, well.
No, she's an Orion, but she is a slave to someone else. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or
So
they-
Orions are
well,
green.
Well, so what they talk
They
about in
come from the
Enterprise.
land of the Jolly Green Giant.
So the Orion slave women, that's one of the tactics that they use is they have their women go in pretending to be these oppressed slaves, like all the men keep their women, suppressed, but the women have those hormones that let them take control of the men and then on the ship, and then
Oh,
the
just
Orion
like here.
men come in and take over the ship.
Mhm.
So yeah, I know. This is way too nerdy.
Whole lot of love. Bam.
Well, that's what women do anyway.
Yeah, but they have special hormones
They
Yeah.
do that in
or
Russia.
pheromones.
Used to do that.
Pheromones, yeah.
Russian soldiers
Just like you guys.
would go into the German camps and seduce the Nazi soldiers and then slit their throats.
Well, next week we're going to Vietnam because it's a private little war.
This is an episode that I love and I hate. So I don't know where I'm going to end up. There's parts of it I love and parts of it I hate. So I don't know where I'm going to end up on this one.
Mugatu, right?
Yeah, the Mugatu, baby. I got the action figure right over there.
I got the potent section.
I want that root that
Oh yeah.
he holds, that little rubber thing that goes.
Oh.
This came on an autoplay and Peaches had never seen it. He's like, what the heck is this? And I'm like, we don't talk about this episode that much.
Shatner's getting it on with her too.
She had such a bad wig. Oh my gosh. We'll get
She
to that
was-
next week.
she was
What's her
beautiful.
name? Nancy Coe.
Yeah, she was hot and nasty, that girl was.
Something else.
Here.
And then Mugatu's got her, and he's like, or the guy, they're yanking her around. Look at Shatner.
When it was supposed to be sexy night, but y'all went too hard on endless breadsticks.
Oh my goodness.
Well, look at that face. That face is like a classic Buscema drawn.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
cheekbones, and she has the perfect structure. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, she was in Jason and the Argonauts.
Mm.
Oh, that was her?
She.
Medea?
Yeah. Yeah, she was in that along with the Pussy Galore. What's her name? What's the actor?
Don't you miss the old James Bond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that? Pussy galore.
I must be dreaming.
It's so funny. Miss Money Penny, and then there's
Honor Blackman. Thank you, Paul Taylor.
Honor Blackmore?
No, Blackman. Honor Blackman. He misspelled it or got it wrong, but it triggered it for me. Yeah, she was in that movie too.
Mm.
So, all right, guys. We have hit the mark. Anna has to get on the road. And I want to thank everybody in the chat for tuning in to another episode. We got 767 people watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next week for a private little war. Have a good one. Bye.